Hi, this is Krista at The Secret Yarnery. Today we're making these super easy boxing granny squares using 4 different colors. And the trick to making it a boxing granny square is you use your darkest color right after your first square. So this is your darkest color and you work gradually out to your lightest color. Then when it's all put together, it'll look like a little shadow box. So let's get started. To make the boxing granny, we need 4 colors of yarn, a hook that goes with your yarn. I am using 4 worsted weight yarn, acrylic, just regular craft acrylic, and a 6mm hook, and a pair of scissors. You'll also need a darning needle when we are finished, but we will be working in our ends, so we're only going to have 1 yarn from each color that we need to actually weave in, and it's half woven in, so not a big deal for the ends. Don't worry about changing colors. If you hear this knocking, that is a little bird at my window that I will show you. These are the yarns I'm using. They're number 4 worsted weight regular acrylic, Kenyan acrylic. And you can use your scraps to do them, but what you want to do is to use the same colors in the same order for all of your squares. We will be starting with our center color for our square in this corner. So we start by making a slip knot, and we do not need much of a tail, just a couple inches. So, or even just 1.5 inches, not much. We're going to work over it and cut it off. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then into this very first chain, you can count your V's to find your first chain, so 1, 2, and 3. Into that first one, push your hook in, hold that tail down along your work, along the chain, and I kind of pinch it down, and now you want to get your finger into the center there by your hook and in between that U shape, and pinch it to your thumb so you can just hold that center open. Grab your yarn and bring it through and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. You want to do this all at once. You don't want to stop because you want to be holding that center open with your finger. Wrap your yarn and now go into right where your finger is. Grab your yarn and bring it back. Wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So that is your first double crochet, and you can let go now. You can see where that double crochet is holding the center of your ring open. And our chain 3 also counts as a double crochet for this pattern. So we're going to do 1 more double crochet into that same spot, into the center of the ring. Double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, double crochet again. So we're doing sets of 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1 and 2, and 3 more double crochets into that ring, and we're holding the tail along with our chain, so we're working over it. That's how we want to hide it. So 3 double crochets into that ring, going over our tail. 1, 2, and 3. So there's 3 sides of our square done. Now grab your ring and your stitches and pull them apart. Pull your ring out and push your stitches back. So now you can see it kind of keeps a better shape, and you can see the 3 sides. Chain 2 for your corner, and our last 3 double crochets into that ring. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to join, and we're going to keep going with this yarn color. So we're going to join with a chain 1 and a single crochet to the 3rd chain up. So our first chain is this little V down at the very bottom in there. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So this is the 3rd chain. So push your hook in. You want 2 loops of yarn on your hook. Grab your yarn and bring it back. So you have 2 loops on your hook, wrap your yarn and take off both loops. So that is a single crochet. and chain 3. I'm still holding this corner open. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and turn your work. Now into this corner spot, 2 double crochets because our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. Now skip straight over to the next corner and we're going to do a corner. Our corners are always 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. A chain 2, 1 and 2, and 3 more double crochets into that corner space. 1, 2, and 3. So that's always going to be what our corners are. So jump straight over, wrap your yarn, and into the next corner we will do another corner, and corners are 3 double crochets. There's our third one. Chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. So this is all into the very same space. You're doing 6 double crochets with a chain 2 in the middle, and that makes your corner. Into the next corner, we do a corner. So 3 double crochets. A chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Now our next corner is only half a corner. We've done 3 double crochets, or what counts as 3 double crochets. So we just have to do half of a corner. So we're just going to finish that off by doing our 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And now we have to join. So I'm finished with this color of yarn now. So I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. So just push your hook in, 2 loops of that stitch onto your hook, grab your yarn and bring it back, turn your hook and bring it through. So that's a slip stitch to join. Now we're going to chain 1 to secure our yarn. That makes a little bit of a knot. Cut your yarn, pull your hook up and your yarn through, and snug that down to secure. Now we worked over this tail all the way around and we knotted it in the beginning, so we can just cut that one off. And these scissors are really great because they have a curve to them. There is a link in the description box below if you want to check them out. They're from Amazon. Now we're going to work in this tail, so we're just going to work it back along this corner. So I'm going to just go into these back loops. So there's a front loop and a back loop. I'm going to go into the back loop. So just 1 loop on my hook, snag that yarn and bring it through. And in the very beginning, I kind of pull it down a little bit because we want that knot to sink into our work. And now into the next stitch, back loop only, bring it through. Next stitch, back loop only, bring it through. And I go 1 more. I'm going to go into the top of this center double crochet. I want it all the way over here. Now I stretch it out, give it a little pull, flip it back the other way, and now we're going to work it back. So now I'm going to put my hook in from the back side, grab the yarn and bring it back. From the front side, grab the yarn and bring it forward. From the back side, grab the yarn. You're just weaving it one way and then weaving it back. There we go. And now our next round, when we put our stitches into this corner, we're going to have 6 double crochets over top of this yarn, and we can just cut that off so we don't have to sew it in later. So now this one is finished. This color, we are going to get our next color, and our next color is Bougainvillea. So there's 2 sides to your work. We're flipping every round so our square stays true and stays square, or else it can start twisting and it won't look perfect. So this is the front side. You can see these pretty little V's looking at you, the nice little edge. It looks super cute. And these stitches are nice and straight. They look like nice little penne pastas. If you turn it over, we have all this macaroni and the edge doesn't look the same. The edge looks like it's all kind of just messy, like somebody dumped a whole pot of macaroni. So we want to work into the back side. So macaroni up and pretty side down. And we don't want to join where we finished off. We want to join in the corner before. So I'm going to put my hook into the corner space, take a loop of yarn, say a 5-inch tail, bring it through and slip stitch with both to join. Now you can drop your tail and just hold it along your work. Just hold it along the top like that. Chain 2, 1 and 2. If you join your yarn in a different way, you're going to want to chain 3 because this is going to count as our first double crochet. So wrap your yarn and into the same corner space, we're going to make 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Drop your tail, and into the middle space here along the side, we're going to make a shell, so that's 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Into our corner, remember we worked our tail, so we want to work over that again. So I'm just going to poke it behind so it's not in my way. And into our corner, we're going to do a corner, and corners are the same. So 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3. A chain 2, 1 and 2, and 3 more double crochets into that same corner space. Jump straight across to this next space, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Into the corner space, 3 double crochets. So every space basically gets 3 double crochets, except for the corners, which get a corner. So now we've gotten to the edge. We just want to do 2 sides of this square. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Turn our work, and we're going to jump over and build a shell straight into the next space. So just ignore this spot here. Don't worry about it. You did your chain 3, and we're going to go straight into the space and build a shell of 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Jumping over to the next space, 3 double crochets, 2, and 3. And now we're going to do our corner. Corners are 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and 3 double crochets. There's my 3rd double crochet, my chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And now jump across, going down this side, 3 double crochets into each of the spaces. 1, 2. So there's my 3. And into the next and last space, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. So when you get to this last block, there's no space to go into. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a double crochet into the top of this chain 3 over here. So we're going to go into this stitch. If you flip up your work, 1, 2, 3, we're going to go into that one. That is where we're going to put our double crochet. So you can just tip it up to check where you're going, or from this side you can just look over 1, 2, and 3 somewhere in there. So I would just go into there. You just need 2 loops on your hook. It doesn't totally matter how you get them. So jump straight over. I just push my hook into that area. I want 2 loops on my hook. Grab your yarn and bring it back, and you want to have some tension. You don't want to make this a big gaping double crochet. You want it to be nice and kind of snug. So wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So there's our double crochet to finish this side, and chain 1 to secure your yarn. Cut your yarn, pull your hook up and your yarn through, and snug that down to secure. So now we're going to weave in this tail again also, because we don't want to sew it in so much with a needle later. So through the back loops, we're going to weave it all the way back to this double crochet over here. So to over here, give it a pull so it's not tight, and now weave it back twice this way and the next stitch that way. So now when you go over it, we're going to go over it when we join our yarn here, and we're going to go over it in the second shell also. And we've gone back and forth, so it's not going to wiggle out, and we're not going to have to give it a haircut later. This orange guy here we worked around, so we can cut that one off. And this one we're going to weave back in later, and this we have to still go over. So now we get our next color, which is Mandarin Orange. We always want to be working into the back. So remember, our nice little V's are facing up. We want them facing down. So into the first space, put your hook in, loop of yarn on your hook, bring it through, slip stitch with both to join, and drop your tail. Chain 2. If you join your yarn in a different way, then do a chain 3. Wrap your yarn, and into that space 2 double crochets, and that builds your first shell because our chain counts as a double crochet in this pattern. Jump straight over to the next space and do 3 double crochets. I use a bit of tension here because I want to really snug down those tails because that's where we work them in. And now 3 double crochets into the next. Into the corner, 3 double crochets, 2, 3, a chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. If you're running out of space, you could just grab your corner and grab your stitches and pull your stitches back. That'll give you a lot more space so that you can get all of your double crochets laying down nice side by side. And 3 double crochets into each of these spaces going along this side. Now we're at the corner, so we're going to do our chain 3. So these 2 rows that we did in the hot pink or in the bougainvillea, that's the same 2 rows we're going to do no matter what. The only thing that's changing is how many shells we're building along the sides. So this is the second and final row or pattern repeat per color. So it's always a chain 3, turn your work, jump over this shell, just ignore it, and build your shell into the next available space. So there's our 3. And now into each of these going across, 1 set of 3 double crochets into each space. Corners are always 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. Now jump across this side, 3 double crochets into each of these spaces, and I'll meet you here. And remember, when we get to the corner, you just want to poke your hook in, not into the first stitch, not into the second, but into the third. Or you can tip it up and look from the top. So there is your first stitch, second stitch, and this over here is your third stitch. So that is where we want to do our double crochet. So wrap your yarn and just go into that stitch. It doesn't totally matter which 2 strands of yarn you get, although you can be perfect and get the proper 2 if you like. And make your small double crochet using a little bit of tension. Chain 1 to secure your yarn. Take your scissors, cut your yarn, pull your hook up and your yarn through, and snug that down to secure. So there is our 3 colors finished. Now we're just going to work in this tail to the back loops. There we are. Our next color is yellow. So we're going from the darkest color to the lightest color. That's going to give us our box look. And we want to make sure our macaroni for the last round is facing up. So there's our nice V edge and our pretty little stitches. We want those facing down, and we want macaroni facing up. And into this first space, we're going to do the exact same thing. Loop of yarn on your hook, slip stitch with both to join, drop your tail, chain 2 if you join the yarn same as me. If you join differently, do a chain 3 and 2 more double crochets into that corner. 1 and 2. Grab your yarn into the next space, 3 double crochets. A little bit of tension because we're going over our tails. We want to kind of pinch those tails in there. And one set of 3 double crochets into each space, going all the way around until we reach your corner. Corners, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Push your stitches back if you need more space. Three double crochets into each space, going all the way along until we reach the edge. The next round for each color is always the chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn your work and work your way back. So jump over this shell into each space, going all the way across, 3 double crochets. Our corner, same as always, 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets. And then work 3 double crochets into each of these spaces, going all the way back until you reach the edge. At the edge, we're going to finish off with a double crochet, and you'll remember you're not going into this stitch here or that one there. We're going into the top of this chain, so it's pretty much that area, that little corner over there. So wrap your yarn and push your hook in, 2 loops of that stitch on your hook, and make a small little double crochet. Not too much extra yarn. You want it to be nice and kind of small and tight. Chain 1 and cut your yarn. Hook up and yarn through. Snug that down to secure. And now also work in this tail into the back loops. There. Now the tails we've worked over, so where your color has finished, these tails we can cut off. Those ones we can cut off. These ones where we've started underneath just this one shell, we have to work those ones in with a needle. So just take your needle and thread your yarn through it. Skip the first loop and go back through the rest of them, just under. Go back that way. Grab something. I'm just going to grab this loop on this other side just to pin down the tail. And you don't want to be pulling, you just want it to lay flat. And then go back that other direction. There we go. And now we can cut that tail. So we've gone back and forth over that several times, and it's not going to stretch out because we've gone back and forth along itself. So that one is safe and you will never see it again. And do the same thing for these other tails. Now this tail up here, we're going to still work that one over, so don't cut that one yet. And there is your boxing granny square ready for whatever project you're going to be doing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And thanks so much for watching. Stay hooked. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We'll also be doing a separate video showing how to join these up into a boxing granny blanket. So stay tuned for that. And thanks so much for watching. Stay hooked.